വിതച്ചിടുക നാം സ്വർഗത്തിന്റെ വിത്താം ക്രിസ്തൻ സുവിശേഷം ഹൃദയങ്ങളിൽ ആത്മമാരി പെയ്യും ദൈവം കൃപ ചെയ്യും തരും കൊയ്ത്തിനെയും തക്ക കാലത്തിൽ കൊയ്ത്തുകാലത്തിൽ നാം സന്തോഷിച്ചും കറ്റകൾ ചുമന്നും കൊണ്ടുവന്നിടും കൊയ്ത്തുകാലത്തിൽ നാം സന്തോഷിച്ചും കറ്റകൾ ചുമന്നും കൊണ്ടുവന്നിടും.
Hello. Nancy and I have been traveling to India for the past 20 years. In that time, we've been from north to south and east to west and had the privilege of meeting many Indian missionaries and seen many assembly ministries. In this past year, it was our privilege to visit SBS, Suviseshakan Bala Sangam. That's right, Suviseshakan Bala Sangam. This stands for Children's Evangelical Outreach. And in the video you're going to see, we had the privilege to sit down with two sterling servants of the Lord, leaders of SBS, Dr. Johnson C. Phillip and Abraham Thomas. So pay attention to this video. You're going to learn quite a bit about SBS ministries. Now you've got a big story to tell.
It started very small, and today it has become an international ministry.
International?
It's gone to Nepal. Very soon we will be in Sri Lanka and probably all the neighboring countries.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, praise the Lord for
and
that.
There are SBS branches in most of the Gulf countries. Let me introduce Brother Abraham Thomas. He was working in Bahrain when the Lord called him for Christian ministry.
I see.
Yeah, and he left that job, came to India, and many of the brothers here, they impressed upon him the need to work among children. Now, taken SBS to such a wide sphere.
Ah.
And I'm Johnson Phillip, the media chief of SBS. So I'm here to tell you about SBS, but then, as far as the history part is concerned and statistics, we would better ask Brother Abraham Thomas to explain those things to us.
The Brethren movement started in Kerala in the year 1899. After half a century, a brother known as Emmy Cherian, who left the job as a teacher, and he started the movement known as the SBS. SBS is for the children. And now the SBS ministry is flourished all over India and crossed the barriers of India and moved to different neighboring countries.
What do the letters SBS signify?
SBS is a Malayalam word, Suviseshakan Bala Sangam. Suviseshakan means evangelistic fellowship for children. This is run by the assemblies and men of God, and they are doing a ministry for the development of our children. In each and every assembly, we have the SBS unit. From there, we develop the children, we present gospel to them, we train them, and as an outreach ministry, we started going out from the assemblies to reach the unreached children of India.
What did the very first SBS program look like?
In 1953, Emmy Cherian left his job in Kerala. He went to Madurai in Tamil Nadu. At that time, he had a desire to do something for the children of Kerala. He has arranged camps for them and then other training programs and several outreach programs. So the assembly people, they teach the children developing their leadership skills, singing, preaching, whatever talents they have for the glory of God. Through them, we are reaching the unreached children in the schools as well as in the villages.
Since Brother Abraham Thomas returned to India after a wide exposure, the moment he took over SBS once again, he decided that it is time for SBS to expand. And he called all his fellow workers, SBS volunteers, and the vision caught on from there.
I see.
Yes, and SBS suddenly grew in an explosive manner from there onward. In fact, there was a conference at a place known as Paipad in Tiruvalla, a place where this vision was communicated to the people and from where the explosive growth started. Immediately after the Paipad conference, SBS added a number of programs. A large number of volunteers, they came to SBS. SBS has no paid workers. The expense is minimum, whereas the effectiveness is very high.
Well, you see, that's one of the great things that I want to communicate, especially to the people in the West, about the work in India. You get so much done with so little.
Yes.
How many volunteer workers are working with SBS at this time?
Well, it's countless, but we can at least count not less than 7,000 people across India.
They take care of vacation Bible schools, managing them, teaching there, coordinating them, translation, distribution, all kind of activities are managed by this volunteer group of about 7,000. 400 to 500 might be in Christian ministry. The rest of them are either students or are in full-time job, professional jobs.
Housewives.
Housewives.
How in the world do you equip that many people
That's a
to
good,
do the work?
That's a good question. The first challenge when I went out of Kerala and introduced the ministry to the believers in different states, they asked, we don't know how to teach these children.
As far as I'm concerned, I am no good with children.
That's why. That's
I
why.
can talk to you,
Yes.
but with children,
Well,
could you train me?
why not?
You think so?
Oh, yes.
You mean anyone can do it?
Of course.
Not
Anyone.
maybe anyone, but
Yeah, those who have a burden for the children, they can definitely do
even
it.
people who think they could not.
Our
They do
volunteers includes doctors, engineers, housewives, evangelists, and people from all walks of life.
I see.
Even retired people.
Like myself, I see that pointed.
I
know
didn't
who
say
was
that.
pointed at.
I didn't say that.
Well, a country like India, we have at present 1.15 billion people living in this country.
Let me say a word to the people in the West. If I could define India in a word, one word, it would be people. People are everywhere, huh?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes, that is your big resource
Yeah.
here, huh?
And we are going to overtake China by 2030. We are expecting that by 2040 our population will be 1.5 billion. And who will evangelize the people at that time? If the Lord's coming is tarrying, it's our responsibility to train the younger ones. That means those who are in 10th grade or 11th grade, they will be the leaders of 2020 and 25. At least we have a target or the vision for 2030 and 35 at present.
What is that target?
Target is to train maximum people in India. In India, we have 600 districts. Our aim is to at least conduct one training program in each district. We have a short-term and long-term goal in front of us. Our short-term goal is to train minimum 10,000 volunteers in India by the next 5 years. Whenever we conduct a VBS, we invite the people from the assemblies. When they come and see how the work is going, they have a desire to join the ministry. We have 1 week training, 2 weeks training, and then a master teacher's training. During the last 7 or 8 years when we went to North India and trained these people, you know the result? Last year, we were able to meet 150,000 children with the gospel in North India. 200, 500 children are attending in some of our programs. From 3 to 5 days, we have the VBS. 5 hours, these children are coming and attending our program. See, in North India, as you said, everywhere children. If you just clap, children will
They
run.
come. If you wave, they wave back.
There's
They're
no need
friendly.
for a roof like
Yeah,
this.
they're open.
They sit on the sand, and then we provide them literature. I'll show you some of my literature which we are using to teach the children.
Let's see here. That's an impressive stack of. This is the literature that they use for the children.
Miracles of Jesus.
Look at these illustrations here.
All of this material is produced indigenously by the volunteers and friends of SBS. Teachers use this to show the children.
That's why the illustrations are
Yes.
so large.
Yes.
They can stand up in front of a group and say,
And here is Lord Jesus.
We don't have a classroom. We don't have a conference room. Under the tree, sometimes there will be wind, there will be rain.
No blackboard.
In many of the situations, we don't have a LCD projector or mic system or electricity. Call the children, ask them to sit, teach them some songs, present gospel through the visual aids. In one VBS, we teach one book only.
okay,
5 days, 5 lessons are there.
and the gospel is in each book?
Yes.
These are Hindu children that are coming.
Yes.
Well, what do their parents have to say?
Most of the Hindus who send their children to VBS, they say that if they send their children to one of our VBSs, they are more obedient, more God-fearing, and more interested in spiritual things.
That's the undeniable truth of the gospel. Jesus changes lives.
Yes, he transforms. Children readily listen to biblical stories. they readily listen to the gospel, and they readily accept the gospel. That's why children's ministry can become and has been becoming one of the most transforming powers in sharing the gospel. SBS, once it meets a group of people, one of the first things SBS people do is explain what children's ministry is and what the importance is and what the results would be. Once people hear that, and they become greatly and deeply interested in children's ministry.
If you present Christ to an adult, 50 and above, their lifespan is small. Their mobility is small. So they will be confined to the situation where they are. But suppose a child is got saved, then he will go to his school, then he will go for his higher education, then he will go for his job, then he will be moving around, and wherever he goes, he can be a witness for the Lord Jesus Christ.
Actually, SBS is going throughout India and training local Christians who are fluent in the local language, who are one with their culture. Then they go and share the gospel with these children. And since they are locals, or since they belong to the same area, people don't have a cultural shock, there is no cultural gap. They are of the same language, they are of the same culture, they wear the same clothing, they eat the same kind of food, they are their own people. Once this access is created and once the gospel is planted in the hearts of the children, that becomes a doorway to present the gospel